one.
Hi.
We're live. Let's see. There we go. We're live. This is going to be my. I'll do like one of those podcast intros that everybody does.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, like one of these, like, hey
I can
guys.
see it on the little screen right there. That's so cool.
Does it look nice?
I'm gonna full screen that shit.
Dude.
That poop.
Put it full screen. Hey
You can
guys.
say fucking shit if you want, Virgil.
If you want to say shit, you can say fuck.
No, because we're descending into hell now. So I got a guy Dante.
Yeah, today I'm going by Dante because we're about to go down some real rabbit holes. This is the first episode of something that I just decided is called Down the Rabbit Hole with Andy Southern and friends. And then a parentheses, woohoo.
Woohoo!
There you go. So welcome. Welcome. Everybody, if you want to introduce yourself, introduce yourself. We got a room of guests here.
I'm just here for exploring weird holes.
He likes holes.
I was told I'd be exploring holes.
Poppy's gonna take everybody's paycheck that they receive off of the advertising that comes from this.
Well, that's good. It's not going to be much. It's not going to be much. It may be negative funds, actually.
And I am Virgil, guide to the underworld. Ooh.
Oh, I like
also,
that.
yeah, just I'm a cool guy. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe.
Virgil's a cool guy. I'm commenting. Anyone else?
Sure. I just, honestly, I'm just looking to learn more to expand my essential oils business that I pitched to all of my Facebook friends. Hashtag MLM oils. Please hit me up.
By the way, if anyone wants to buy some,
my family is literally starving. I need this money.
he may be one of their salesmen.
Business, I'll tell you
So
that.
we've got 9 crates of these essential oils that we got to fucking hawk.
And I just want to see where Pickles the Satanic Dog can take me.
Ooh, I like that. Finally, someone after my own heart.
I was gonna say we have a diversity hire.
Oh, here. And then this will be ready. This is a good transition. This will be our opening song. This is the new opening theme of the podcast. Now that it has a title. Okay, here we go. Key of something. Going. Wait.
Are you going ghost like Danny Phantom? Going ghost.
That's good. Okay, here we go. Yeah, we'll start with going again. Going down the rabbit hole, that's what we'll do. We're gonna go right on down these weird holes with you. I guess that's it. What do we think? Is that a good theme?
I know.
Alright, I'm putting these
On the rabbit hole.
Going
Alright,
down the
that
rabbit
makes
hole.
right?
It's like our Johnny Cash type of thing, I think.
I like it. It's got
He's
a real
still alive
house
in hell.
Okay, so this is. I'm just gonna put this on this dude in the background. Have you guys heard of this? This is the first topic I want to talk about. Basically, what we're gonna do is just explore some weird, random topics that I found beforehand, and I haven't read on any of these. I just found stuff that sounded like it might be interesting, and that was good enough for me. So,
Let's get it.
okay, tell me about this. Has anyone heard of remote viewing? Starting off slow.
Could you fill me in a little bit more on it? I'm a person.
No, I haven't seen remote viewing. It sounds
That's-
like watching TV.
You're full of shit on y'all.
In a way, it
Just
kind of
what
is.
the
AI do to us? Like remote
This is
viewing?
yeah. So this is that fucking movie. You remember the goat movie, The Men Who Stare at Goats?
Oh, George
Oh
Clooney.
yeah, with Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ewan McGregor, right?
Yeah.
I read the
I think Obi-Wan was in it. Did you
Yeah.
really? Was it?
Actually, George Clooney and Ewan McGregor, and it was their best performance in years. And yeah,
Tell us about the
No,
book.
Dude,
Oh, I
I
don't
read the
remember
book.
anything.
It's actually a really interesting book. It's made by this well, it's a British journalist, right? He's made a couple of other books too. He's made one about shaming on social media and one on reading psychopaths, like
Oh, that sounds
learning how to
interesting.
read a psychopath. And then the one where there were military people that said that they could kill a goat by just staring at it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Um,
They were telling the truth, dude.
This was a real thing that they were looking. Well, the military was looking into real claims of psychic power, and they were trying to enhance it with psychedelic drugs.
Right. The guy on the actual book, he was more of a weird military guy who was completely separated from everybody, right? But
Yeah.
it was really interesting.
Yeah, I need to read it. And I
This
found
makes a lot more sense.
so I found so that book is based off a real project that's right here. It's called the Stargate Project. Let me zoom in
Is it-
here.
Has anybody seen the movie? Was it any good?
It was
I did
okay.
see the movie a while ago.
It was
and it's
okay.
all right. But yeah, it's been so long that I forgot like the basic premise. But yeah, in like the commercial, yeah, you see him with his like head with his hands right up to it, and then like the goat falls down.
Yeah.
And he's just like,
But like the most
you're like,
major
"Oh, that's
aspect.
Oh, there's a journalist. It's the guy with the glasses, actually. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the guy over here.
Oh, so
Yes.
the journalist who wrote the book is in the movie.
Yeah,
It's
this is like a documentary about the story that's just playing in the background.
That's fucking rad.
But basically, the part that they kind of left out of the movie was that a big section of project or Stargate Project was remote viewing. And what remote viewing was basically they claimed that they could train people to see things like anywhere in the world psychically.
Oh.
So these
Okay.
people would essentially like go into a trance, and they would be somewhere else, like some sort of extrasensory ghost, you know what I mean? And they would be able to witness things that were happening anywhere in the world at any given time. That was what they were
So-
researching.
So basically, what happened on Stranger Things with 11 doing the
Yeah.
whenever she went into this dark place, right?
Yeah, when she would like close her eyes and be able to see what was happening. It's kind of that was based on it, kind of.
He's so
Yeah.
timely with the references. Damn.
What do you think, Kirsch? Or I
that
mean,
went right over my head at the time when I was watching, because I've seen all 3 seasons of Stranger Things. Spoiler alert: there are kids in it, and like I didn't really think about the whole the superhuman like mental program that was kind of going about this time in the Cold War, and does kind of remind me of that Operation Top Hat, which was another thing with experimenting on drugs.
Let me look that up.
Normal people, you got to look that up. That's another.
That's a
thing
good
kinda
rabbit
along
hole.
It's like
is
think
that
a CIA or FBI thing where they like tested
Operation
that on
Top Hat was a
town.
local field exercise conducted by the U.S. They involved the use of chemical corps personnel to test biological warfare methods on U.S. citizens.
So, like, were they giving people acid and just being like, "Tell me
Yeah,
how you
tell them
feel"?
about it. I think.
Let's see.
Like
That's-
that's what's the trippy about it. You know,
How
like,
do
that
I-
it's
how do I
legitimately
sign up?
occurred.
It was
they don't
termed a
do that
local
anymore,
field
but
exercise.
Aw.
I know.
I
I
was
don't
gonna
know.
say, screw donating plasma.
Yeah, so it
Give me
says
some military LSD.
basically it wasn't on like it wasn't on like their citizens, this specific one, but they had people who became a part of the chemical corps, and the members of this chemical corps, without knowing it, were being experimented on.
Mm.
Our buddy Narwhal, who might join the chat later, is in the Chem Corps.
Is he really?
Wow.
Yeah.
I wanna hear what he
That
thinks
may
about this.
explain a lot.
Yeah. It says they even tested sulfur, mustard, and nerve agents on these people, and these people were not
mustard.
volunteers and were not
Oh.
informed of the test.
Like it's
Can
one
you
thing if
click
it's
on-
sulfur, like that's normal, but like mustard. Fuck.
Yeah, I
Can
clicked
you
on.
click on sulfur mustard? What the hell is that?
Oh,
I
let's
just
see.
imagine like Wario.
Sulfur, mustard.
Mustard gas was commonly used during World War One.
Yeah.
Had horrific, long-lasting effects on the soldiers it was used on.
It's kind of one of the reasons they
Yeah.
passed the like international, the
Conventions.
Geneva Conventions
Yeah.
against chemical warfare.
Yeah.
Like I said, though, Narwhal will probably be the most educated on this.
Yeah, because most of the people who died in World War One died because they were poisoned with this gas, and then either got shot because they couldn't see what was happening, or they like fell into shit, or just got poisoned to death.
I mean, really, like the greatest cause of death was just dying of sickness in those darn trenches. Like
That's
where
true.
a lot of people.
You guys
died.
ever
And,
see a
like,
picture
war
of
that
the-
boredom was,
the
like,
trench
you know,
foot?
kind of created on-
I'm gonna look this one up in an incognito tab.
Trench foot, did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's advanced
Oh, yeah.
gangrene.
hold on. I need to
Essentially,
clarify something really quick.
necrotic tissue.
So, we're discussing
Oh,
the
wow, that's
testing of
disgusting.
this chemical agent on American citizens at what time?
So this
This
occurred
was in like the 1960s, 70s, right?
1975.
Hey.
So, like 60 years after, maybe 60 plus or minus 5 years after, mustard gas pretty much made a reason for the genetic.
Yeah. So what it says here, it says that the Nuremberg Code, blah. So after all these conventions, basically within the guidelines, they required that all research projects involving human subjects receive approval. But I guess there was some sort of loophole that they used to get around it by defining it as a different type of experiment somehow. And so they ended up having to legally close this loophole after all of this got out.
Yeah, this is a field trial.
Interesting.
This isn't an experiment.
Because they considered it a line of duty exercise, because they were experimenting on members of the military. Now, the members of the military were, the Chem Corps was not volunteering, and they didn't know that they were being experimented on, but they just called it an exercise.
Well, the Chemcorp people, at least from what Narwhal's told me, is that they get exposed to like gnarly shit on the regular. Like they get gassed in their training like very often.
Yeah, it says
So I imagine,
a
like,
lot of
this-
nerve agents were used on them.
Telling these people in the Chemcorp like, hey, we're gonna gas you or we're gonna hit you with something, or not telling them at all. I'm sure it wouldn't be that far off from just their regular training or what they were, used
Yeah,
to
honestly.
essentially.
But imagine getting hit with sulfur mustard gas.
disgusting.
Yeah, that's beyond just like mustard. That's beyond riot gas or just pepper spray. That's like
That's pretty messed up.
Well,
That's-
hey, what you're forgetting is those recruits, etc. They don't get gassed without protection. I mean, it's not like they're just putting like helpless people
You
into
would
this
hope,
gas
but-
cloud. No, they're wearing the full protective gear because it's a drill situation. It's not like subjecting the boots to like ridiculous chemical exposure.
That's true.
It's to test like war situations. So that's completely different from what we're talking
But
about here.
sorry, the other experiment that I was talking about earlier.
you're right. I'm wrong. I should kill myself.
Probably. No, don't do that. We don't encourage that on this podcast.
Oh shit! I mean,
It's a great saving.
Yeah, thank you. That's called diplomacy.
I found the will to live. Thank you, Andy.
See, there you go. We were talking about the Stargate project, which was established in
Whoever created a portal,
1978
like
at
they
Fort
do in
Meade.
Minecraft, I guess.
I wish. They were investigating the potential for psychic phenomena in military and domestic intelligence applications. So there you go.
Sounds awesome. How do you?
They were
apply-
They were attempting to use remote viewing as a way to spy on their enemies. That was like their big thing. So whenever they were
Yeah,
like,
but that's a little invasive. It's like, being
well, yeah,
I mean, that's the point of it, right?
it's as invasive as it gets.
He's
I'm
in
just
the
a little
bathroom and
upset,
he's bustling out the hustler from right next to his toilet. Oh, he's doing some things now. Private, stop.
Huh.
It's almost
No
like the
more
guy
remote
that.
viewing.
It's almost like the guy who invented the telephone bug would be like, another guy would be like, hey, but aren't you going to like listen to private conversations here? Yeah, that's the whole point of it.
That's kind of the point. They claim that they claim that it worked sometimes, but nobody could ever prove if this was true because this was all classified at the time. But they claim that one time a remote viewer was able to locate the location of a lost Soviet spy plane.
No, just lucky guess. I could throw a dart at a map and say that came from my mind.
Still, like the chances of that happening, if it was a lucky guess.
It's kind of fascinating.
Oh,
No, but the thing is, you get one positive, right? So it says that one person could find that Russian spy plane, but how many people were testing that? That's
a
the
good
thing.
Yeah, that's true. It sounds like that was the only like major success in the 70s. This went from the 70s all the way through the 90s, though. It stopped in 95.
Oh, that's a good year.
Well, they just need a way to justify that it was worth the government spending. So as long as they can say, hey, one guy found the location of one Russian spy plane, they can probably justify, $100 million of government spending on the project.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. It's almost like the time when the Russians were testing for psychic powers, and they had a group of so-called psychics.
Yeah,
What
it's
was
the
that?
Umbrella Academy, yeah.
That sounds
Aren't they
interesting.
also
Nina
training gorillas by-
Kulagina,
Yes,
a Russian
so-
woman who claimed to have psychic powers.
Yes, that one. She could move a cigarette right across a table, and when a couple of journalists asked her to do that, like 30 or 40 years after the whole testing with the Russian army, she couldn't do it again. So
It was probably a magic trick.
Or she
exactly.
just moved it with her hand from one end to the
Is there video? Oh, dude, there's video of it. I'm gonna pull up the video of
there's
this.
videos.
Her psychic
there's-
power weakened as she got older. It's the only reason
Oh.
why.
Okay, so that's her. Okay, so they put what? They put the cigarette inside like a sealed container. It looks like
Yeah, so she couldn't blow on it,
that makes sense.
basically.
That's fair, yeah.
And yeah, there you go. You just saw it move. It's really shitty footage. There it goes, right there.
1940s
Yeah.
footage. Yeah.
Oh, there's more. Here's some closer footage.
Well,
Full screen it.
that's the beauty of magic tricks is that when they have big setups like boxes and stuff, they're often used to take your eye away from what's
Yeah.
actually going on.
Yeah,
So the
illusion.
fact that there's a big old box, it makes it actually kind of
It looks like a magic trick.
exactly. It looks like an illusion.
When really the only true magician in years was Merlin.
Oh, there was also one other one. It was called
I thought, what's his nuts? The guy with the tigers and the island.
Island Tiger Boy.
You know that. Was it Siegfried? Is that his name?
Did you guys ever hear about this one? Operation Midnight Climax.
I felt
It's a hilarious name. This is my favorite of these. It was 1950s, so real early. The CIA this was a mind control research program in the 50s.
Oh, hell yeah!
they had like a toddler name it. Just like, yeah, Operation Midnight Climax.
And it's really
yeah.
fucked up what they did because this was the
That's a
50s unethical
smart
testing.
toddler.
It says that basically they would take prostitutes, or sorry, sex workers.
Yeah.
Got to get better about that. They would put sex workers on the CIA payroll. They'd say, hey, we'll pay you if you participate in this experiment. And they would take them to CIA safe houses, and then they would just dose them with a fuck ton of LSD. And they would hide behind
so
the
it's
other
like-
side of the glass and see what dosage of LSD would make them the most suggestible and just study the effects of it on them in general.
Oh my gosh, that's horrible.
God, the government just loved testing with LSD, dude. That was
On
their-
here it says every one of these acts was blatantly illegal. And
And
you know what's
wasted
kind of
money.
fucked up is that this was in 54. Was Truman president in 54?
Oh no, not Truman. At that point, was it? Maybe it could have been Patton at that point, like in the 50s. Let me just double check
Patton?
that.
Did you say Patton was never a president?
Patton was never president.
He was
I
a general.
No, not Patton. Eisenhower. That's the word.
Eisenhower. I was looking for Eisenhower.
You know, they're the big ones that came out of the
Pat-
war.
It was
Patton.
just
No,
testing
Patton
our
was
nationalism.
Yeah.
You're
Montgomery.
Oh well. Okay. So basically, yeah. Operation Midnight Climax. They were just very illegally dosing.
Yeah, it was Eisenhower.
people with,
1953 on up. No, just kidding.
I wonder if they have any footage of that.
Would it
Probably
really
not.
matter what president it was? I think that the CIA just operates on a different spectrum that nobody knows.
Oh, that's kind of
And,
funny. This is
Thanks,
from a
Dr.
year
Right.
ago. Apparently, it says compensation paid for CIA-funded brainwashing experiment to a victim's daughter. So people are still getting paid out for that.
60 years later.
Wow, talk about love for the troops. MK Ultra, yeah, this shit was very under the radar. I don't even want to know what was happening with the CIA in the 50s.
No, the Unabomber came from the MK Ultra.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
One of the studies on the MK Ultra was how much could you break somebody, right? Could you
Wow.
break somebody's mind?
Yeah, just totally
Uh,
destroy their humanity.
Yeah, and what they did with the Unabomber was they asked him to make an essay about his whole belief system, and he worked on it for a long time. And then he went to present it, and he had 3 or 4 people from the CIA just break it apart and shit on it the whole fucking time.
Wow. That's pretty messed up.
And that essay is the manifesto.
That's the manifesto?
Of the Unabomber. Yes, that's the manifesto.
God damn.
My God.
Wow, apparently Ken Casey also, the guy who wrote One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, was supposedly a volunteer for MK Ultra experiments.
What did they do
It
to him?
surprised me, even though I've never known that. Like,
That makes
I don't
sense. It said his experiments involved LSD and other psychedelic drugs at the Veterans Administration Hospital.
Wait, the writer? I thought it was.
Yeah,
just
the
a movie.
writer. It was originally a book. The movie was based off the book.
Ah, sorry.
And the book was supposedly inspired by his real life experiences he had. Because one, he was a part of MK Ultra, and then two, he like went in and out of mental hospitals throughout like the 60s, I think. Or at least at one time.
I guess he's not Jack Nicholson in the movie, right?
Unfortunately.
Right.
I can't not think of his performance.
Dude, it's great. Oh yeah, here we go. Ted Kaczynski was said to be a subject of it.
Well, never mind. I went to the Shining hotel, not like a couple months ago, and that was, but unfortunately, that's nothing to do with the cuckoo. So I retract that.
Isn't that kind of crazy? Oh, and also they claimed that the guy who shot Robert Kennedy was part of MK Ultra.
No shit.
That
what
was
his name? Jihan or something like that. It was no, it was
Lawrence Teeter.
Oh,
Oh wait, no, sorry, that was his lawyer. Her name was Sirhan.
that's what it
That's
was.
what it was. Sirhan. So basically, his lawyer, that was his defense in court, was that he was under MK Ultra mind control when he did that.
Hey, Narwhal.
Is MK Ultra like My Hero Academia? So it's like Ultra Plus or something like that?
It's
Yeah,
MK
dude.
Ultra
I just want
Plus.
to make sure I'm on the same
It's
page.
plus ultra, dude.
Oh, that's it. That's it. And the
So,
government didn't want us to have that. That's horrible.
What's the topic right now?
Oh, well, we were just talking about the ChemCore, actually, earlier.
Really?
Did you ever hear
Oh,
of these
no.
experiments that were done on the ChemCore?
Are you talking about like St. Louis and
What
and
was it
like
called?
the nerve agents?
Yeah, the nerve agents, Operation Top Hat.
No. What's the background?
It says in 1953, the United States Army basically, instead of the ChemCore, thought they were just, doing their job, but they were also being secretly tested on, but the U.S. Army classified it as field training. So they were just running tests with like mustard gas and nerve agents on the members of the ChemCore without them knowing.
Oh, and seeing like the utilization of their equipment and everything else.
Yeah,
Yeah, sounds about right.
that's crazy.
Yeah, so like we do. Well, I wouldn't say we. They do testing in live facilities now that have chemical warfare agents.
Whoa.
From the ChemCore. Can't go any more into that than
Yeah.
that, just because I don't want to put myself out there and kind of put information out there that people shouldn't have. But like you do live training with real nerve agents in your gear.
Yeah. Well, at least you guys know about it beforehand. Or
Only
those guys.
Only downside is there's really nothing to protect you against mustard gas.
So nothing protects mustard gas, not even like a gas mask?
Well, it does, but like your filters only last for so long, so you might have the ability to react to it, but in a live combat situation,
Yeah.
what's going to kill you faster, the mustard gas or around entering your dome?
That's
so,
a good point.
It's really based off of the ability for your command team to be able to react to a opening into the opening of what is the objective, what kind of precautions can we take, and what type of equipment do we have here be able to mitigate the losses that we have from these attacks.
Damn. I mean, that makes sense. You got to be prepared for everything.
Yeah, it's really really fun to kind of go into and kind of delve into the trait that into the branch that I decided to go into.
Yeah, that's a really interesting. I didn't even know about the Chem Corps. I mean, I assumed there was something like it, but I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah, honestly, it's probably one of the smaller branches of the Army, and a lot of it,
Really?
even a lot of people in the military themselves don't understand what the Chem Corps really does, just due to the fact that the United States hasn't had the I want to say misfortune of being able to be in a large scale peer-to-peer contact or
Yeah.
peer to insurgent contact that has the opportunity and ability to employ and create any type of chemical, biological, or radiological type of warfare against us, since really the World War One.
Yeah. Yeah, because we were talking about World War One, and I had to pass all those whatever they were because of it. Mandates and the Nuremberg Code. Is that what it's called?
Geneva Convention.
Yeah, the Geneva Convention. Great convention. Almost as good as AnimeCon.
Nothing.
I prefer Comic-Con.
Yeah, there you go. I met Tommy Wiseau at Comic-Con. I don't know why I said it like that. Comic-Con. That sounds like it's a con for communists.
I like it.
Wait, a comfort for communists? How? What?
No, this was at Comic-Con. Sorry, I pronounced it as Comic-Con.
Yes, comrade. I would love to see you at
Anyway, I have another topic that I wanted to talk about. I thought this
The
one would
raid
be
on
very
Area
interesting.
51?
This is even better. Well, it's in the same vein. Have you guys heard of the Rendlesham incident?
Please tell us about it. Tell us about it, Dante.
Dante's going to take you into this rabbit hole here. This is,
wow.
in my opinion, and I've done a lot of UFO research just out of posterity's sake, because I'm a science fiction writer, apparently.
You're right.
In my opinion, this is, and in most people's opinion, this is probably one of the most credible UFO sightings, or the most hard to explain away. And it happened in England. So it's England's, people call it England's Area 51, like England's version of Roswell, because it was super publicized, and it happened on one of England's Air Force bases.
Sounds
And it was, it was at the RAF Woodbridge, which was used at the time by the U.S. Air Force. So the U.S. Air Force was actually the people who witnessed this, but it was in England. Basically, in 1980, let me go to the main events. Here we go. Yeah, so at 3 a.m., they're on a patrol right outside this forest in England, and they are alerted of a natural debris and a fireball coming out of part of the forest, and like lights coming from the direction of this fireball. And this was all recorded on the military, U.S. Air Force records. And basically, it says the animals on a nearby farm went into a frenzy, according to the military report. One of the servicemen, Jim Peniston, claimed to have encountered a craft of unknown origin while in the forest. And then after 4 a.m., one of the guys claimed to have touched this thing and that it was like repelling his hand, one of the Air Force members. And the most interesting part is that the next morning when they went to investigate the claim, there was triangle patterns in the ground as well as burn marks on the trees surrounding the area they claimed that it landed at. And here, let me find the photo of that. There's a photo of the actual landing site. But the most interesting part of this is that the military guys who were out in that forest that night, this is the photo here.
Oh, wow, is that even legal?
Yeah, look at that. It's really creepy looking. It's just a crappy photograph. But supposedly
That is a really bad photo.
Yeah, so supposedly the marks were like here, and there was one over here where the feet of this thing supposedly were. And they said all these trees around here had like burn and singe marks on them. And now, if you have the Twitch or the Twitch thing open, unmute it for a second, and I'll play just a second of this audio. So,
All right.
a guy had an audio recorder with him when he went out to witness this thing, and so this is audio recorded by the military guys while they were having this whatever happened. We ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
Ready.
All right. Let's see.
15 to 20 feet up. Some small branches about an inch or less in diameter. 0148, we're hearing very strange sounds out of the farmers barnyard animals. It's very, very active, making an awful lot of noise.
Sounds normal so far.
Yeah.
You just saw a light where? Wait, no, slow down. Where?
This is from 19.
Straight ahead, in between the tree.
If he like predicts Fortnite in this video, that would be
Straight ahead off my
great.
flashlight there. There it is. Hey, I see it too.
Just starts like
We don't know,
flossing.
sir. So can I get some?
Yeah, this was in 1980.
You just hear that. Oh, man.
You'll see maybe a
But, all
quarter,
right,
half
I
mile,
believe
maybe
it.
further
I
out.
believe it.
When I switch off. The light is gone now. It was approximately 120 degrees from the site. Is it back again? Yes, sir. Oh, that's the flashlight set.
You can hear these people are freaking out.
Let's move out to the edge of the clearing so I can get a better look at it. See if you can get the star scope on it. The light's still there, and all the barnyard animals have gotten quiet now. Yeah, we're heading about 110 to 120 degrees from the site. I'm through to the clearing now. Still getting a reading on the meter. About 2 clicks. Meter's count 3 to 4 clicks, getting stronger.
Yeah, and they also had radiation readings that they were tracking.
Which explains their accent. Okay, good.
Yeah, there's a radiation accent.
Alright, I just turned the meter off. Gotta say that again.
I do
Anyone ever tell you that you sound radiated?
10 degrees, getting a reading of about 4 clicks. Yes, sir.
Let me skip ahead here.
Scope on it. It sort of has a hollow center, a dark center.
It's got a
Yeah, so this is them describing what it looks like.
It flashes so bright
Because
with the star scope that it almost burns your eye. We passed the farmer's house and across in the next field. Now we have multiple sightings of up to 5 lights with a similar shape and all, but they seem to be steady now rather than a pulsating or glow with a red flash. We just crossed the creek, and we're getting what kind of readings now? Getting 3 good clicks on the meter, and we're seeing strange lights in the sky.
yeah, so those 3 clicks are from the radiation meter.
Or it could be like,
Or the Geiger.
Far side of the farmer's
closing your
field.
gas in your car, and it clicks 3 times so you know it's closed.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
For a minute or
I'll
two.
do a little bit more.
315, now we've got an object about 10 degrees directly south. 10 degrees
Yeah,
off
so
the
there were like
horizon.
5 or 6 objects that
The ones in the north are
they had like a lot of
moving away
witnesses
from
to.
us. Moving out fast.
Sorry.
You're fine.
Yeah, we're both heading north. Hey, here he comes from the south. He's coming toward us now.
Yeah, they're freaking out.
Now we're observing what appears to be a beam coming down to the ground. This is unreal.
This is unreal.
330, and the objects are still in the sky, although the one to the south looks like it's losing a little bit of altitude. We're turning around and heading back toward the base. The object to the south is still beaming down lights to the ground. 0400 hours, one object still hovering over Woodbridge Base at about 5 to 10 degrees off the horizon, still moving.
Yeah. It's wild stuff.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, what do you think?
It's all.
What do you think?
coincidence, I
You think
guess.
it's real?
I think they were afraid of geese at the time, so maybe they thought, oh, that's some really weird. Maybe we should go away. We're British.
Afraid of geese? Anyone else?
Just, doing observations.
I'm surprised you guys haven't heard of that one. That one's a classic.
There was
And then this is the actual
I've heard it on
memo.
another podcast. I think I've heard it on another podcast about
Oh, it was a less good podcast.
They were talking about Roswell, right? And they were saying
yeah.
that Roswell was actually just I think Russian intelligence trying to scare people in the United States or something like that.
Oh, see, I would
And-
believe that.
That they used mentally handicapped people, and they made surgery on them, right?
Whoa.
So they would look different.
Oh,
And
That's what the little bodies were?
Yeah, that's so. I heard that theory that the little bodies were just.
Wow. I liked, and that would explain why they never wanted the word of that to get out.
Yeah.
Why they would rather it be thought that it was aliens.
So they were saying that the whole spacecraft and everything was just implanted by the Russians in the United States with this little guys with Down syndrome with surgeries on them.
That's crazy.
No, they actually had like Down syndrome, and they made surgeries like facial reconstruction things on them, so they would look that way.
Well, the guy that recorded that audio, the dude that's talking in that clip, I mean, if you look him up, I mean, he's got like 50 what do you want to call it? I can't think of the word right now. So he's been on like a ton of TV shows: British UFO Files, Naked Science,
sure
UFO Hunters, UFOs Declassified, conspiracy theory shows. I mean, this dude literally just made up this clip because he wanted to get famous. I mean,
So
That's also possible.
The
He could be
only
milking
other
it.
source for that clip is this one random conspiracy theory website by Ian Ridpath, who also has the exact same accolades for being on like conspiracy theory podcasts and like UFO stuff. There's absolutely no references in that article to sites where anyone has done any peer review on anything that guy said. Like it's literally just a made-up MP3 clip that this guy uploaded saying,
When
I'm
when
gonna
was
go
that clip?
investigate UFOs."
When did the clip come out?
I don't know. Check it out. Just look at the links from the wiki.
That's why I'm
page,
glad
and-
Max
and
is
it
the fact checker
basically goes
tonight.
nowhere from the wiki.
Let me see.
There's nothing there that's solid at all.
The halt tape, a copy,
I
blah blah
believe
blah.
that.
tape.
So many people will say anything just to make sure that they can milk it for all the money it's worth. You know?
Yeah, I don't want to be like,
No, we need
I'm
that
not
perspective.
a tinfoil hat kind of guy when it comes to that.
And you shouldn't be.
There's peer-reviewed research, or we all believe.
Now, what do you?
crowds.
Oh, tell me what you
It's
think
not
about
like-
this. What do you think about these
What's that?
recent UFO videos that the
Saucer
U.S.
spears.
released? Yeah.
Oh, you could just do that with those.
No, so these were the ones that were
laser light
released.
decorations.
These are the videos that were released by the U.S. military about a year ago. That
That's all
the
standard
military
too,
claims
but-
they don't know what these objects were, but they were tracking them on radar. So they sent Air Force after them, and this is the footage that the Air Force was able to capture of these objects. And basically, they would stop and they would rotate and then just start flying in a completely different direction and things like that. And the U.S. military claims to have tracked several different things that were identified to be similar to these in recent history. I think these clips are from like 2015 or something. And they released them in 2018. My biggest my biggest theory is that it's probably unreleased military technology, and it's their way of slowly introducing people to the idea of these new technologies that they're going to have in the future, if it's anything at all.
I feel like we should just show it. I don't know. I think people are pretty understanding about learning new things. I mean, we got iPhones now. So.
Yeah, but the problem with this is that these things are like, not following understood laws of physics.
Yeah, that sounds like cats.
Well, Tane, do you remember when we were watching? Well, we were actually listening to the guy that worked in Area 51, and that he was talking about the different what he saw in there and all the different stuff, and how what he saw there.
Was it Bob
50
Lazar?
years- Yes.
Yep.
That.
Yeah,
I
that
love
was-
Bob Lazar,
yeah,
man.
Absolute BS, dude.
Bob Lazar is crazy. I love him.
It was all. Yeah, I saw.
He
they-
comes
they were
across as
using,
very
respected.
honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the
he-
first 5 minutes of his presentation, and after
Yeah.
you listen to him for literally anything longer than 5 minutes, you're like, this guy is just scraping the bottom of the barrel for any kind of lingo that he can possibly come up with that'll get him any more money on Joe Rogan's
Yeah.
podcast.
But he
That's the
did
end of my
actually
rant.
work on that military base. They did confirm. And the weirdest thing, I will say the really weird thing about his story is that the government went out of their way to cover up the fact that he ever worked there in the beginning. Because when he first came out with these claims, the U.S. government said, no, he never worked there. He never worked there. And until somebody discovered like I think it was a phone directory for that like top secret section of that military base, and his name was in the directory. And then after people confronted them with that, they kind of reluctantly said, like, yeah, he worked here for a short period of time, but, you know, he was just a contractor and he didn't know about that stuff.
Yeah, that's classic United States government damage control when it comes to any crazy reporting.
Yeah.
Like if some guy manages to get his top secret clearance and gets into one file cabinet and thinks he's going to get YouTube famous and starts releasing all these videos, obviously HR is going to do some damage control and say, we don't know who this crazy guy is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's see what the Chilean Navy has here.
The thing about Bob Lazar is also that
this is a video from the Chilean Navy.
He doesn't have any technical knowledge. Like,
exactly.
Well, whenever he talks about it, it's like pop science.
It's literally.
Well, yeah, that's the problem. Is the stuff that he claims to be an expert of is technology that doesn't exist. So he can say whatever he wants and be like, "Oh, well, you guys just don't know about it."
I know. I hate that.
It's interesting.
Now, again, what are our thoughts on Santa Claus, though? Like, I could see
I think
some
he's
credibility.
real. I got some other random things here.
Actually, Santa Claus is real.
Yeah,
So,
Chris Kringle has given me my presents for the last 23 years of my life, and he will continue.
And he will continue
until the day that I die.
Started off as a man in fucking, I think it was like New England, not New England. It was fucking. Come on, where's this at? Great Britain.
He beat up God for immortality, and he won.
Basically, what happened? So he was like a baker, and one day on fucking like Christmas Eve, he wore all red, and he had this old man, so he had a big white beard, and he walked around town handing out fucking loaves of bread to people, and it became a thing. Yeah, right. So like,
there wasn't an Applebee's back then. So
He's
trying
to steal your kids. You know, so he's out there fucking trying to put these kids into his sack. Like,
he's putting the kids into the sack?
Into a sack. Lure him in bread.
He's stuffing children into a sack.
You know? And basically,
what is he, Olive Garden? Oh my gosh.
So, you know, and then the next year he got more. You know,
more children.
More children. He came up with better ruse to get him into a sack, and you know that's how the whole Christmas thing started. You started going down people's chimneys and abducting children.
This makes a lot of sense to me.
At what point, though, do you become immortal by, like, abducting enough children? Like, and
I think you have to drink their blood.
Drink their blood?
Yeah, drink it all, man.
The blood of the youth has always been a fountain of energy for a lot of people. I mean, Chupacabra. I'm just saying there's something to it. So maybe I get why the FBI and the CIA do their things if they want our youth blood.
It makes sense.
I don't believe in Christmas, and I look like an old fuck, all right?
Did they take your youth blood years ago?
I mean, they've been sucking me dry. So
that's sad, but not surprising. You look like you've been sucked dry, I guess.
I
got emotional wrinkles, definitely.
Sorry, so.
What gave you your emotional wrinkles? You guys ever see this one, the UFOs over Washington? That's a classic.
Okay, that is a remote control right there.
This guy?
I'm pretty sure it's a laser.
He's a robot.
I think
look at that
the UFOs.
Man.
Who makes these videos with such horrible imagery? Come on.
Seriously.
Apparently the Chilean military. The Pentagon does.
The UFOs that are more real for me are the ones in Phoenix. The
Phoenix lights were very interesting. I think the Phoenix lights and the Washington lights are interesting.
I've never seen the Washington lights, but the Phoenix lights, though.
Yeah, so this is a picture of the Washington one.
Very interesting because everybody saw them.
Yeah, they were witnessed literally by hundreds of people. And it was the same case with the lights over Washington in the 50s. It was like a couple hundred people. And the weird thing is, if you look at both of them, they look kind of similar.
So you know when you're driving down like a highway and you see all those like those windmills and all the other stuff, and it's like flashing out in like in the distance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like how do you know that's not the same thing? You know.
But that couldn't be a windmill. I mean, look at this is one of the Phoenix lights, an actual picture, and they were moving and changing formation. So these lights were moving around in the air, seemingly unattached to one another, but staying in some sort of strange formation, and they would go into different positions and then just stop there and like rotate in place.
It could honestly have been a tracking device put on a geese. You know, they fucking fly in triangles. So.
That would be hilarious. It was just a bunch of geese with lights on them.
Absolutely. You know, the Army's just trying to fuck with
Or
people. You know, Air Force and Army are now at war with each other to see who can come up with the most crazy UFO type of sighting that they can create. You know, it's 100% live.
Do they have any videos of the Washington ones? Because that's what I'm surprised that more people aren't talking about.
My favorite argument to all of the UFO sighting videos is when SpaceX started launching their ridiculous rockets, like right at dusk. And as soon as a single person got a viral Twitter video of the exhaust coming off of the second stage of those launch vehicles,
yeah,
I mean, like, literally panic was ensuing. Like, everyone in, like, a 5 or 6 mile radius of someone that was, in view of the launch, they were literally, like, running to Walmart and buying water or going to the gas station and
That's
getting
crazy.
gasoline. They were so positive the aliens were invading because
Like,
they didn't want to take, like, 7 seconds and Google, hey, everyone, there's going to be a rocket launch tonight at around 8 p.m.
Oh,
and
that's
it's gonna look
right.
like aliens are invading and killing everyone.
I remember that.
Again and again and again, and every single time they launched their launch vehicle, when the second stage went off and that crazy plume of smoke came off, every single mom on Twitter was like, "I'm going to die today. This is the end of my life."
This is how it ends.
Right, if they're a single mom, where the hell are their kids? And
We had a
why are
good
they just
run.
not freaking out tomorrow?
Thanks.
With the Tesla.
It's Russian. Ella.
And,
Wow, that's pretty crazy though. These
Oh,
UFOs
man.
over Washington. These guys are talking about France. Let's see what else I have here that's non-UFO related.
Like French people.
So if we did see
sorry about your.
Oh, well, I thought this
What
was
they
just
look
kind of an
like to you
interesting
guys,
person
like-
that I had never heard about before. This is a woman named Audrey Munson. And a lot of people consider her to be the very first supermodel, the very first American supermodel. And a lot of those like statues of beautiful women from the early 1900s in New York are all designed after her.
Oh, cool.
And also,
You
more
see
interestingly, Audrey Munson.
Oh, okay, that was way off. All right.
Well, it was kind of close. You got the Munn right.
Regardless, Olivia Munn.
And also says that she was the very first person to appear fully nude on film.
Okay.
She was the first American actress to be nude in a film, I should say. It was a film called Inspiration from 1915. It was a silent
She
film.
was the first person to be famous on film. Because I guarantee you there were women before that were definitely nude on film before they were famous. Sorry.
That's probably
young
true.
Women from the 1800s.
Although this claims it's the first adult film. Though maybe there were adult films beforehand, but it's just that she was the first one to be fully nude.
Well, there you go. Porn industry always
Well,
driving.
did she have a speaking role? Because I'm pretty sure there was like some of those old silent films that were definitely on the less clothed line of entertainment.
Okay,
Yeah.
I have a really pressing point right here.
Hit it.
Yeah.
If they had fucking porno back in the 1800s.
Right.
Why
yeah.
the hell did Penthouse ever come out? Like, why was that a thing about reading
Dude,
about
this
some
is-
girl's Harry Bush?
This is
And
1897
I bet
porn.
people would beat off to that, right?
I'm gonna have to pause if she actually gets naked, but
That's fine.
literally the whole first half of this video is her just taking off layers of clothing.
That's pretty fucking hot, you know?
Look at she's still taking out. She's still fully covered.
You know,
It's
you could track
suspense
the
of
degradation
his
of
elbows.
human morals with the advancement
Look at-
of, pornography. Like back then, if that was considered risque, like, and people had better morals back then.
Oh wait, she's about to. Oh, they're showing her butt.
Oh, Andy.
I think she's literally taking a bath.
Oh God.
She still has clothes on though. She's like a one piece apparently.
Is that what that is? I think her butt is
like
eating.
I think that might just.
Yeah, it definitely is. There's a black hole sucking it in.
Did she
Look at
turn
that.
around? No, it's all from behind. This entire film is from behind. Look at the woman gives her a bath for about 30 seconds, and then she puts on a towel, and
That's
then
not
looks at the
hygienic
camera.
At all. What the fuck?
Yeah, that doesn't really seem.
You're not using soap,
This is the first adult film
Look
ever
over the
made,
camera and
apparently.
Smiles.
She's just rubbing her robe. Like, is there even soap applied to the robe?
Yeah, dude.
This
Look at
doesn't
how
make
sexy
sense.
that is. This is
Look at
fucking
her.
sexy.
She looks at the camera and smiles like a
Yeah.
witch. Why is it motherfuckers?
Look
I'm
at that
more
look that she
skeptical
gives.
about the bathtub cleaning, than I am about the UFOs, honestly.
First ever
Yeah.
reported sighting of a witch in adult film.
She was just like pouring. But literally the first like 20 seconds is just them ripping off layers of dresses.
Maybe that's what young strapping lads were about back in the day. They
mean,
just
I
wanted to
bet
see
you-
people take off the first layer and they were done.
I bet you 1890s men only made it about this far.
But how did people have so many children if they only made it past first base?
I got a lot of
just
questions.
You
really
only need
semen at
two. You only need like if you're a two-pump chump, I mean, you can get a lot of children. It gives you a couple.
Let me tell you something. This just tells you how much the porn industry has moved the technological spectrum of film and taking on entertainment and everything.
All
Like,
media was first started
1800s.
with porn.
Yes.
1800s, it was just, what can we do with film? What about just doing pornography? Perfect. Now, advance 100 years, and then you have, more like a little bit more than 100 years, and now you have VR
Yep.
porn.
If I want to
Yep.
see Riley Reed's bush, I gotta put on my VR headset and
Which is
clear
a shame.
a 10-foot space in my apartment.
What?
Like a really
Are you
saucy
so
love poem, like that'll
fucking
do it, bro.
sad and depressed? You get to put on a VR fucking thing and get your.
You'd be
fleshlight on, start
surprised,
eating
buddy.
Yourself.
You'd be surprised.
I mean, like, how are you so incapable of talking to a chick? I just flirt with everybody. Shoot your shot. Go for it. Just shoot you down. go
Shoot
talk to
your
her best friend,
shot.
and talk to her mom. Who cares?
This is a fun article here. Remotely guided rats.
There you go. Recommended as Joe Rogan.
I don't think they have the same thrust value as like a surface-to-surface missile. I'm confused how.
Fucked up.
Wait, what are we talking
Joe
about?
Rogan looks.
Wait, can you just repeat when you introduced this segment of the podcast? What did you say? Exactly what you said about the rats. Just say it again.
I said, "Oh, this is a fun one." Was that what I don't remember what I said.
The sentence right after that.
This is an article about remotely guided rats.
There you go. Remotely guided rats. I don't think they're as effective as surface-to-surface guided missiles. That's just me, though.
God damn it.
Like, I've heard of Rugrats, but
We
not
got there.
that kind of rats.
Dude, have you ever rugged a rat? Hey,
Oh,
it's
that's
very
too saucy.
very saucy.
It would be like putting what's better, putting a hand grenade on a rat or on a RC controlled little car?
That's a good.
I got a lot of questions.
I think just having a car is nice. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't know if you guys were like humble bragging there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, we were.
I'm a walking comedian.
Well, you're a talking comedian right now.
I'm a walking and talking comedian.
Yeah, we did the CIA article. Let's see, we did the guided rats. Well, we didn't really do it. Basically, it was that this was in 2002. Basically, they were controlling rats with they would apply impulses to their brain, so you could do an electrical impulse to make them move left and a different one to make them move right. And they were controlling these rats as if they were remote control cars.
That's amazing.
Look at this video. Look at this.
They did that same thing with cockroaches like 10 years ago, right? Like
I think so.
I'm sorry, 10 years before this video was posted.
I think
I
so.
see the date is 2015. I remember hearing about
Yeah.
people remote controlling cockroaches with like an Xbox controller.
It's crazy.
in
Yeah.
like 2005.
It said this
I know
was
they tried
originally
this
done
shit,
in
like-
2002, the Rats one. At
I originally heard they tried to do this shit like thousands of years ago with a guy called the Pied Piper used to fucking flute and he controlled. I don't know the science on
Alright,
that.
okay,
Joe Rogan might have better-
I think Joe Rogan would know the science on that.
I just
With,
know if you pipe your pop, you know, if you use your piper, and you get the right frequency, you'll get the rat note, and that's all you need. To get
The rat
shit.
note. You don't want to know what
Get
happens
in the
there.
closet, get the young blood. I'm just saying, it's all connected. Like, don't be sheeple, you know. Anyway, that's my thing.
Don't be a
They kinda-
Sherpson.
They kind of look to me like they have a tinfoil hat, which, by the way, technically speaking, if you wear a tinfoil hat, you're more likely to be attacked by electromagnetic information into your head than if you were not wearing a tinfoil hat.
I think the science behind that is
That's
if you're wearing a tinfoil hat,
hilarious.
you're more likely to sleep with your sister and live in Alabama.
That's probably also true.
That's definitely the science behind it.
Whoa.
Yeah, but these. Oh, what is this? The cyborg beetle design.
What are we watching here?
It just autoplayed the next
Cyborg
video.
beetle.
It's a
Oh, I
cyborg
think this is the
beetle.
Beetleborg
This is
show
a
from the
remote
90s.
controlled beetle in Singapore.
Man, he just threw that thing across the room, dude. He just yeeted that beetle, bro.
He was controlling it like a like a fucking remote control helicopter.
Can we him eating that beetle?
Yeah, I want to go back to that.
Cool.
Yeah,
I'm
that,
sorry.
let's see him do it
Guys,
again.
we need to see him just eating that beetle.
This is bizarre. Look at that.
It's taped.
Oh,
That
man.
thing, it has a soul, man.
Yeah, this looks like
I know, but
torture.
just
Look at this.
Kobe
It's
did it
waving
across
its
the room.
arms. Oh, this is disturbing, kind of. So he holds it by the remote. He starts it, and then it starts
Look
flying.
at him.
That was weird. Oh, I think there's more
He
here.
holds it to his butt.
Holy shit.
What is this guy saying? It's subtitled.
Well, I'm definitely gonna close my windows from now on.
Yeah, there's remote controlled bugs out there, dude.
Fucking Chinese. That's how they're gonna do war with us now.
Beetles.
Beetle warfare. They're gonna crawl under your ear and kill you.
Beetles.
Beetles. Dude, beetle warfare
Just
is a
sounds
thing.
like it just sounds like the British invasion.
Mm. Yeah, the Beatles are going to invade for a second time.
We can't get past their anti-air defenses. How do we get in?
There's a wall of beetles.
Always
Release
right
the
from
Beatles.
Down up, yeah.
They use a Wii remote, he says. Look at that.
A Wii remote?
They're controlling these
Wait.
beetles with a Wii remote.
At what
But
point
did
do
they
people
use a
start playing
nunchuck?
tennis with them?
Okay, let's see this. He's about to throw it again with this Wii remote.
I'm
He
watching,
doesn't use a
Dante.
nunchuck, though.
I'm watching. He blows on it to get the wings to come out.
I
guess?
think
to make it. It has to have
yeah.
the sensation of going through the air. So he
That's
blows on it.
interesting.
That's a starter.
Yeah, that's like starting your engine. Look at this thing.
Yeah, it's like a pull start, and then you just toss.
It just
back.
crashes into the wall.
Oh, and broken.
Jesus Christ!
This is
And he
crazy.
just killed it. He
It's
just-
like that video of the dude training the hawk, and then he lets it go, and it just gets
Yeah.
hit by the semi like 7 seconds.
Yeah. Which is a great video.
Sorry, that was.
It works, he said.
That was a side topic. I'm gonna mute myself again.
No, don't. That was a good topic. That was it.
They killed it.
One of
They
my
absolutely
favorites.
killed that beetle.
Look
I
at they
think
got.
they were the monsters, not the Beatles. You know, it's a very much like the.
They said they're going to use
Frankenstein
this to locate missing people.
situation.
That's
Missing
brilliant.
Beatles, more like it.
Well, imagine if there's like someone missing on a mountain or something, or although I don't know if a beetle can survive on a mountain, but like a forest, I guess. And you want to
Ooh,
cover more ground, you just
It's
sent
like
out a bunch of
killed by
beetles
a
with
fucking,
cameras.
like, hawk.
Well, at least you get some good footage.
I don't know, but you'd have to use a Wii remote, though. That's the thing.
Yeah,
At
you
what range do you have?
you would
Like,
need
have
a
to run
lot of
through it
Wii remotes.
constantly.
I'm gonna look up the
Never
remote
went to the
controlled.
forest without a Wii
What was
remote,
it?
right?
Remote controlled
The problem with
cockroaches.
that is- the problem with that is that the Wii only takes 4 controllers. So
Ooh.
Yeah, you're
Ah.
four Beatles.
Yeah, if you wanted to invade the U.S., you'd need more than a Wii.
You'd have to go multi-player.
You need to hook up LAN again, right? And no one.
Yeah.
This is big roaches could save lives with tiny backpacks. That's the name of this video.
It's
Look at that.
Santa.
Look at this
Yeah,
roach.
It's not really sanitary.
So they're
though,
just
like-
controlling it along this. They're trying to control the roach along the line and go through the maze. What is this? Why?
Does it have like a weapon on the back?
No, it's an electrode that's connected to their motor muscles, so this controller can control their motor function with electrodes.
Jesus Christ, they're
Yeah,
disgusting.
but it's so disgusting though. So like, what's the
Oh,
point?
why are you grabbing them, dude? Wear the fucking
Oh,
gloves.
no.
He just wants a nice tasty snack during his break, man. There's a lot of protein in a roach.
That's
man,
true, but
Hakuna
just get some
Matata.
ground beef.
You can eat them. They don't house diseases that will kill a human. I mean, you can literally
Really?
just eat them off the ground. Yeah.
Let me know how they taste.
I would
They're gooey,
love
but they
to.
taste good.
Oh, have you had one?
Have you,
I'm gonna take that as a yes.
No response.
I think I hit a nerve there somehow.
Too fresh for this chat.
I haven't tried them. I have to say that.
I don't know.
I will go on record
If-
saying
if
I've
you
never
ever-
eaten a
I mean-
beetle. Oh yeah.
Let me tell you something. If you ever gone to in Mexico, down in the markets, they have this huge baskets, right, of insects that you can buy to eat right then and there, or to either bring back home and to cook them at your house. And you get worms from, I think it's a maize plant or the agave plant. Then you get ant eggs
Uh-huh.
and grasshoppers. Yes, dude, they're
And
the worst
grasshoppers.
looking ones. The worst looking ones are the little worms, and they are so goddamn disgusting. They look like
Okay,
Cheetos.
good. I thought you were gonna say
Like
they were
huge
delicious.
Cheetos.
Do you know what
Yeah,
they're called?
I've never tried them. They kind of look like.
I just
don't know.
googled Russian Cheeto worm. Oh wait, it's Mexican.
I might be a little too drunk to be in this.
No,
conversation.
it's how do they call it?
Yeah,
I
look
think
at this.
it's,
That's it, right?
Wait, which one? Yeah,
That kind of looks
they-
like orange chicken from Panda Express.
They're larva.
those are the ones.
Yeah, from a distance. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's kind of actually making me hungry a little bit.
I like how
Look
they
at there's a
look.
burger
I'm
here.
comfortable with my desire to eat it.
Yes,
Ooh,
those
I'd
are
eat it
the-
on a burger, man. I mean, if it was masked by
If
some
it was,
normal
like,
flavors.
Fried. They call this a pop-up pestaurant.
Pop up.
How do they pass their like health inspection? Is the question.
They are
Well,
now.
they're in Singapore is how they do it, or they're
They
in
are the
Mexico.
health inspector.
No, don't worry about the rats. That's part of the meat.
I love that
I
that came
wouldn't
up when
worry
I
too
looked
much.
up Mexican
Just
Cheeto
an
worm.
experience of shittle.
I
Oh,
wouldn't worry too much about the grasshoppers though, because the grasshoppers apparently, from what I've been told, they just they just have the taste of whatever you put on them, right?
Yeah, grasshopper.
Oh,
is
like
bad.
tofu.
I've eaten a grasshopper.
Exactly. They just taste like to shrimp little powder
fucked
or
up
whatever the hell you put on them. You just have to take out the
Whoa.
little wings and the legs, and then you like a Cheeto.
I've actually had a grasshopper before, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be.
What
It was
the-
really
why would
crunchy.
you do
They don't
that?
seem that bad.
It was
They
when I
don't
was
seem that bad.
camping.
I mean,
that-
I was a kid, you know.
We were camping and we did like a little Fear Factor type of thing, and one of
Oh
the
my
things we did was we
goodness.
all like
And they did that
grasshoppers.
to you on purpose? Did you get anything out of it?
No, after
Just
that
how
we
the
just all got
sharks are?
touched.
Oh.
Dips.
You guys seen this? Have you guys seen this video of the anglerfish?
I
Yeah,
don't believe in fish, but yeah.
This was apparently the first.
it's unreal.
I don't believe
It's
in
a hard
fish.
sell. All
Made up by
I'm
the
saying,
government.
all the pictures,
Look at this
the
thing.
Data, it just doesn't add up.
This thing looks crazy.
Is that the
Yeah.
dick?
No, that's a male. So the anglerfish, the big one is the female. And
Oh,
the
wow.
little guy is a male. And he
Oh,
attaches
shit.
to the female.
How does he
and
detach?
I don't know how he gets attached.
consume.
That's the whole thing. I just know that he gets attached for some reason, and his brain dissolves, and
Oh my
his
gosh.
only job at that point is to give the female sperm.
You know what we have to
I'm
watch now is a penis fencing video.
I'm so glad that we have our resident fish expert here.
Have
with
you
us.
guys heard of this?
I'm
This is
sorry, I just watch
flatworms.
too many Nat Geo documentaries on weird stuff.
Tell me, have you heard of
No, that's cool.
have you heard of flatworms?
Yes.
I'm gonna look up the video of penis fencing.
The
Yeah, is
penis
that,
fencing
like,
flatworms. They
legal
look.
or, oh.
Yeah, you
No,
want to
they-
explain
they-
it?
They look like
I don't
they
want to
look like they
fight.
have a tent.
Yeah,
They
look
look
at this
like
thing.
They have a tent under a poncho.
Wow.
That's a very
Like,
accurate
imagine-
description. They're just floating around, like flapping around with these things.
Yeah.
It's a
Imagine
flat-
imagine wearing a poncho and getting an erection with a poncho. That's how the little
Sounds like a
fencing
Tuesday
penis
night
looks
if we
like.
go on.
That's painfully accurate. It's just kind of dangling off the sides of the erection.
You're right.
And here's the best part of these flatworms is that the males and the females, I'm pretty sure everybody has like a penis. They all have both reproductive organs.
That's true.
They all have eggs
We
and
are
a
aware.
penis. So when you reproduce, you pretty much fight over who's going to have to be the mother. And the way you fight is
Exactly.
you literally battle and try to stab the other person with your penis and inject your materials into the person through an open wound, not through the person, the flatworm.
Perfect world.
And you inject and you impregnate them through an open wound that you created with your penis, and then you just leave them to be a parent alone, and you just leave.
That's
There you go.
metal as
That's a
fuck.
poncho. That's a
That
poncho. And
sounds
they have
like
a,
America
Look at that. That's the
in
stab.
general.
That's the fucking penis going in.
that's the.
We
that's
lost
the
a viewer over
poncho.
that one. He couldn't handle it.
That's a poncho. That's a poncho with a penises.
That's so creepy.
It's like the same theory with the frogs from Jurassic Park, which that by the
Look
way.
at you
is
can even
actually
see
true.
this person just lost this flatworm. I don't know why I'm personifying them.
Oh,
Look at, and now he's covered in
He's gotta
cum,
load it
and then
up.
the father goes and just leaves, and this flatworm lies there defeated, and is like, well, I guess I'm gonna have to start working for a living.
It wouldn't
Now
be
we
the
got
first person-
responsibilities.
It wouldn't be the first being that has an abandoned father.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people.
I've
like that,
abandoned
so.
my kids. It's okay. They'll be fine.
Well, just take this comfort. You have a lot more in common with flatworms than most people.
I've been stabbing people with my penis for a long time. I still have yet to get caught like that flatworm. So
And you have even more.
I'll be delicate, right?
This flatworm's a fool for getting caught on camera.
Yeah, fucking hitting on
Oh, is that
minors.
killer whale? That's
No.
good.
To be clear, I don't condone penis fencing.
I don't either.
I'm glad
Okay.
that's a strong stance that you take.
This one is, yeah, I take a strong stance against penis fencing. Very strong. Now, this one's kind of disturbing. Have you guys heard, well, we've gone over a lot of disturbing things. Have you heard of this Russian scientist named Petrovich Demikov?
Demikov.
So,
What do you do?
if you haven't heard of him, you probably have heard of what he did. Basically, he was a Soviet scientist in the 1940s and 50s who was famous for transplanting a human heart into an animal. And he also did lung replacements into animals with human organs. And he was famous for doing a head transplant with dogs.
It's like Dr. Moreau almost.
Yeah, this guy was like the crazy Soviet scientist. There's footage
Or
of his
Mandela.
experiments too. Look at this. This
Or
is him doing.
Mandela, I mean,
Yeah. This is him. He's doing a head transplant between fucking golden retrievers or something to create a two-headed dog. This is a real thing the Soviets funded.
It's necessary though.
What do you learn from making a two-headed dog?
I think
How
that
to scare the
sometimes
enemy.
sometimes losing
How to
your
scare-
empathy about what the hell you're doing is sometimes helpful about what you can discover by doing that.
I mean, that is true in certain cases. I'm curious. Okay, so this is really old footage of this actual two-headed dog that lived. So he transplanted a second head onto this dog. Look at that. It's eating off the side of the head. This thing's just coming out of the top.
What on the other head is just chilling there, just like
Yeah.
there's
So there's
arms.
head number one, and then you can see he feeds each of the heads to like differentiate them.
Wait, he has two legs too, so it's like
Yeah, the legs are hanging off the side here. You're right. They just like stitched this dog to the other dog pretty much.
What the fuck?
Dude,
It looks like they literally just sewed two dogs together.
this is like the reverse cat dog.
What
Dog
is
dog.
this?
The dog on top looks a lot happier than the dog on bottom. Let me just put it that way.
That's the best way to put it, I think. And then
He's
if
got this fucking bloke. He's smiling. He's like, okay, put a dog on your stomach, you dumb bitch.
and then these were the Soviet experiments where they were trying to experiment on reviving dead organisms. This was like part of that whole wave of like Frankenstein type of shit, where they were just
Oh, yeah,
running
I was a
electrical
part of that,
currents
like,
into
when I
dead
was
things
here.
and being like, look, it moved. It must be alive.
Yeah, it just volts electricity. Yeah.
But the
so
Soviets
many.
took that and they took it to the next level. So this is them pumping electricity into a heart.
You know why that's not true? Because it's a Soviet film agency instead of Soviet
Yeah,
something like that.
you're right. This was also
Yeah.
probably repurposed by the U.S.
Yeah, for propaganda.
What is going on here? Oh, there's even an
What the
animation. Look at so it looks like somebody like took the Soviet footage in like maybe the 50s or 60s and made a little documentary about it, and that's what this is.
Ooh.
Oh, so it's
the dog.
basically the Futurama head.
Yeah, that seems like it's pretty much how it works. That's creepy.
I don't like that at all. It's like maybe science has gone too far.
They just pump
I'm a
this.
little confused on what I'm looking at right now.
I don't really know. So they're pumping oxygen and something else into this dog. And it's just a dismembered dog. Oh, and there's actual footage of it. Whoa. Oh, and it reacts to stimuli. So they like tap it with a feather and it reacts to the feather.
Hmm.
What the fuck?
Look at it, licked its lips. That's
Oh.
really creepy. Oh. What's the science behind that? Look at and when they put light on it, it like reacts to the light.
Well, if you look for when the French started using the guillotine, they started realizing that people don't die just
Oh,
as you
yeah.
cut their head.
Whoa.
And
Yeah, as long as the oxygen keeps on, like the blood keeps on flowing through the.
This is
the head, you
disturbing.
can keep on watching.
exactly. So they would sometimes cut somebody's head off, and they would keep talking that they just killed. And then when they looked over to the little basket, they would see the guy's
Eyes
head,
blinking.
the eyes blinking, and they go like, "Oh, he's still alive? We cut his head off."
We cut that. Wow. I have heard of that. That's crazy. That's just so disturbing.
So, yeah,
Imagine what that
just
would
remember that
actually
when you
look
cook it.
like.
When they cut your head off, now you know that.
When?
You'll see the basket. It's good if you ever get into that situation.
I seem to
Dude, we're gonna
remember.
be aroused right now.
Imagine if your head got cut off and they held up your head and you look down and you could still see.
Oh yeah.
Man.
I hope they're doing
I
something-
tell them.
Feeling weird to my body.
What would be your thought? You're like, well, I'm a dismembered head now.
My instant
My
thought
damn, that
would be,
guy's a-
oh no, what have you done? And it would be just those words, and then I would, of course, hopefully die.
Dante, what did Mendele? Mendele? Was that the guy of the Nazi?
Oh, the Joseph
Was that the
Mengele?
Mengele.
What was the name? Mengelian?
No.
Joe
Mengele.
Mangeliano?
Joseph Mengele. There we go. That's the guy I'm looking for.
Let me see. EPH. Mangellin?
No.
Oh, Mengele.
Mengele. So yeah, JOSEFMENGELE. Yeah.
So what was his story? Joseph Mengele conducted research in concentration camps. Oh, this was that Nazi researcher who like just was conducting research on all the
Was
people
he,
that they
like,
were going to
called
kill
the Angel of-
anyway. He was really messed up. Yeah, the Angel of Death.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Oh man. Yeah.
I think he did research on twins. On human
On
experiments.
twins. What did he do to them?
He was trying to create the situation where people have twins, I think.
Huh. Oh, so trying to figure out what it was that made people have twins?
Yeah, and when he moved to South America, to first to Argentina and then to Brazil, everywhere he moved, he was trying to replicate the same experiments, and then he would be started to be searched by the Mossad, and he would move to another country and start the experiments again.
Wow. Wait, look at these. They were sewing babies together. Oh, that's fucked up. You ever read about that? The Americans did that experiment where they separated twins at birth and studied them each separately to see if they grew up similar.
Wait, they separated, so they.
Is that true?
Yeah, there was a really famous documentary about this because there were triplets who discovered each other when they were like in college. Like essentially what happened was these guys were triplets, and the U.S. government, when they were born, separated them, and I'm pretty sure they like told the parents that like only one of them survived. And then they just took the other two babies, put them up for adoption, and set one up with like a really well-off family, one in a really poor neighborhood, and then one with his regular parents in like a regular neighborhood or something like that.
Well, that shit was done in A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens, the famous writer. Yeah. So I don't know
What was
they're
this?
getting
What was the name of this? And basically, when these guys were twins, when they were growing up, they would get visited once a year by the military, who would just check in to see how they were developing, and they were testing to see how much your biology versus your environment affected who you were and who you grew up to be. What was the name of this? It was a really famous documentary.
I don't know, man. Like again.
Yeah,
it's
here we
reflected
go.
in the
This is what it was.
movie
Three
A Tale
identical
of Two
strangers.
Cities with Garfield.
Yeah, so these guys, the way they found out that they were twins was one of them like showed up at college, and his other twin, I guess, had a bunch of friends who like were also at that college, so they saw him and were like, "Oh, so and so, what are you doing here? We thought you went to a different college." And he was like, "What are you talking about?" And they're like, "Oh, you look and sound and act exactly like somebody we know." And so he went over and met this dude, and they were like, "Oh, we're twins." And it became a huge news story about how these twins found each other, and they were somehow separated at birth. And when the news,
So they were Siamese, something like Siamese or something like that.
no, so they were triplets. So when the news story broke, there was a third twin who was just watching the news and was like, "Oh my God, I look like both of these guys."
Oh my God.
And then they DNA tested it, and sure enough, all three of them were triplets, and they never knew they had siblings. And what had happened, and then they found out that this had happened with a bunch of other triplets, where basically triplets were being born in hospitals. I'm pretty sure it was parents who didn't want them or something. And so if like triplets were put up for adoption, they would purposefully separate them or something like that, and then they would study them as they grew to see and purposely make sure they didn't know that the other ones existed.
It almost sounds like that like the plot of the movie Moon. I don't know if you guys watched it.
I never saw that one.
With Samuel Rockwell and Kevin Spacey. Basically,
I love Kevin Spacey.
well, the movie's actually good. Kevin Spacey plays just the voice of the computer that's on the moon base, and Samuel Rockwell is this astronaut that lives on the moon for 3 years. And I mean, I don't know. Are you guys gonna watch it? Can I spoil things?
You can
Spoiler
spoil
warning
that.
for all the viewers
The only
for
thing
the
you
movie
can't
Moon.
Spoil is my view.
Yeah. So spoiler warning. A little bit of for if you're gonna watch Moon.
If you're gonna watch Moon anytime soon, this is
If you're
You
gonna
know,
watch
mute
it
it.
anytime soon, this is a spoiler warning. Basically, the astronaut there realizes that there's another guy that is
Oh,
himself
I actually have seen Moon. That's
in
a
the
good movie.
in the same moon base, and he
so they're both on the moon.
realizes- They're both. So he and himself are both on the moon.
Of course.
And then he realizes that the company that hired them to live on the moon, instead of hiring new astronauts, they just made a whole clone colony underneath the moon base. So
Oh,
whenever the 3 was up for that astronaut, they would kill him and bring up another clone.
that's actually pretty sweet.
It's so messed up. And then
That sounds a lot like that movie. Oh, it was that Pauly Shore movie. It wasn't a great movie, but I enjoyed it. Where basically the whole plot was that all these people live like underground, and there's a lottery every year where like a special couple of them get chosen to go live on this idyllic island that's like the only habitable place on the surface. So they can only send a certain amount of people there every year. And basically Pauly Shore, I think it was Pauly Shore, he was somebody that forgettable from the 90s, and I like Pauly Shore. Anyway, he finds out essentially that everybody who lives in this underground community is actually a clone of like rich people. And when you win the lottery, what's actually happening is your rich person that you were cloned from like needs to harvest you for organs.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so it's like a future where like so you have spare organs so you can just keep getting organ transplants with someone who's an exact match to you. These rich people would create exact clones of themselves that would just be raised in this like military facility and told that that's the only world there is. And then anytime they need to harvest the organs, they just say, "Hey, you won the lottery. You're going to the island," and then they'd kill you and use your organs.
It's horrible.
Well, it's just
legal?
a movie. Yeah, it was in the movie.
Well, I mean, if it's legal, yeah, go with it. Still, my goodness.
It was pretty crazy.
Would you ever get a clone if it could live out normally like you in your life, but like you'd have a clone in your life? Would you try to treat it as like a friend, or what would you do?
As a friend.
Well, that's the thing about the movie of Moon. It's like, how do you treat yourself, basically?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Self-care.
Right? If you ever met yourself, would you like yourself, or would
I'd
you
give
hate
myself
yourself?
a try.
I would find myself
I
insufferable.
understand if I wouldn't like myself after 5 minutes, but like I'd at least try it out, ask him a question.
After 5
what's
minutes?
his thought on Santa? And if he says, put him back in the clone pool, because I'm done.
I mean, think about yourself, the things that you do on a regular basis, like on a living basis, and then think, if I had to live with this guy, would I hate him? Would I hate myself? Or would that mean I hate that version of myself? I don't know. That's the whole situation of that movie, of the Moon movie.
Another question is like,
That's
would he
pretty
be
crazy.
living with me? Because he could also just get his own job and like live in a bar nearby, and that's more manageable.
That's very true. He could, but he
Like,
won't.
I would try to support him when I can, emotionally, not necessarily financially, but like,
Not financially. Of course not financially. Why would you do that?
Of course not financially. I'll tell him it's a dog.
No, you'd be an idiot if you did
He got
that.
great genes, but at this point, it's like on you.
Well, he's got some tight jeans, that's for sure.
Oh, that's a call out.
That's a call out, yes. Called out for his tight jeans.
But yeah, no, like I would like him as a friend, definitely. But like, yeah, I wouldn't
I'm
want him
glad.
to like live in my 1-bedroom apartment because, like, that's a tight squeeze.
Aren't we all?
Like if he was like, I would want him to be friends with Dante.
Good catch. Dante, yeah. No, I'm Andy.
Like,
It's fine.
That'd be
That's
cool
who
if
I
you had
am.
like a clone.
If I had a
Virgil.
clone, all right. Here, I'm gonna pull this podcast to a close here.
That's fine.
Let's just do one more topic. I realize that half the people left the group already. That's okay. We only have the good ones left.
Perfect.
They'll
That's
hear
just
that
perfect.
when they actually watch the rest of the podcast tomorrow.
So maybe this could be an interesting last topic. It's something called the Antikythera mechanism.
Go on.
All right.
And this was considered something called an out-of-place artifact, which are basically artifacts that are found to be out of place contextually based on location or like the dating that it goes back to. It's something that just doesn't make sense for having existed where and when it seems to have existed. So this,
What?
yeah, and this is the best example of one where basically this was an ancient Greek discovery of what is considered to be an analog computer. It's like a very intricate series of gears that here, let me find a picture. This is the original one. So this is ancient Greek, and this is like an ancient gear that was used to track and predict astronomical positions, eclipses, and they used it for the calendar and for astronomical or astrological purposes.
Oh, it's more like an iPhone app, really. But only one app.
This is a very old ancient Greek iPhone app.
Why not Android?
The Greeks
Oh,
didn't
so
like
cool.
Android.
I didn't know what our advertising budget was. Like, are we Android or iPhone?
I think we are prepaid phone used by serial killer sponsored.
Thank you. And Captain Crunch.
I think that's sort of more up our alley.
That's
I
fair.
mean, knowing the what kind of calendar it was very important back then. So I guess
Yeah.
one thing that we probably miss every single time is that people 2,000 years ago, or 3,000 years ago, or 5,000 years ago, they were just as smart as we are today, right?
Yeah.
Maybe even smarter because they don't have the same resources, so they try to
Yeah,
gather.
they had nothing to lean on.
Yeah, they try to gather knowledge instead of using the internet. They try to go to someplace else, or let's see if I do this. Oh, okay.
Imagine living in a
So-
world like that where you could just go. There was just an infinite amount of things to discover still, and I guess there still is, but on a different scale.
Yeah. I mean, there still is a million things to discover for yourself, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's a
Oh,
good way to
we
look
still
at
have
it.
Also, like the deepest parts of the ocean and then space are the really two big frontiers. I guess that in Delaware, because no one's ever gone there. It's there. Because we can talk shit about Alabama on the chat. But
Yeah,
like,
of course, that's
people
allowed.
at least go to Alabama. We know people are there.
I know
But
people are
Delaware, like that's like the. I don't really count it as a state. It's like we're the 49
So
states.
the greatest frontiers are the bottom of the ocean, the depths of
Yes.
space, and Delaware.
Just all of Delaware, right there, neatly packaged. And I agree with that.
Wow.
But going back to it, like,
Yeah, it says that this was
Yeah,
basically
it was-
mainly used to track the 4-year cycle of athletic games, which was similar to an Olympiad, the cycle of the ancient Olympic Games.
Right. Where they would go and play sports on the nude.
Yeah.
it was just.
Didn't they use like human heads
to
as
know-
balls and shit?
No, they just have your usual discs.
Oh
and,
yeah, I was thinking of the Mayans, right?
Marathon.
No, they use a rubber ball.
Who am I thinking of?
The Mayan ball head. Ball.
I'm literally
I mean, the Mayan ball
oh,
game.
Mesoamerican ball game. Oh, this is from El Dorado.
Yes.
It's
but
ancient
the actual one-
Mesoamerica, the pre-Columbian people in 1400 BC.
Yes, they used to use a rubber ball actually, but it was a
Yeah.
really heavy rubber ball, like up to like 5 kilograms or something like that.
Yeah,
which
it
is
says
like-
it was a 4 kilogram, as much as 4
Yeah, there you
kilograms,
go.
9 pounds. It was made of solid rubber. That's crazy. And it said that they most
Yeah.
likely struck the ball with their hips to try
Oh
to
my
keep
gosh,
it in
like
play
Shakira,
It's not
and get it
most
through
likely.
the hoop.
The most likely is like we are pretty sure the game is played like that because
Yeah, it says that they don't
all
know
of
for
the
sure.
The Spanish, when they documented the game, they said that the way they played it was with their hips and with their thighs. So
Huh.
imagine striking, and I guess there are still places that they still play it, you know,
Yeah,
because hipsters want to still play.
that's what it looks like. This is like a
Mesoamerican ball
modern
game.
photo of them playing it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think they still play with a 4 kilogram ball. And
Damn, does that mess you up?
it can mess you up really bad if you're not strong enough, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you got to be beefy for that. Got to have some muscle.
Yeah,
The
I'm
thing
not
I
really a
don't know-
beefcake.
The thing I don't know about the Mesoamerican ball game is, and I think it depended on their culture, but were the winners or were the losers the one that got sacrificed?
Oh,
I
that's a
remember hearing that. I
very
think
great
that's
question.
Aztec, right?
No,
Wait,
so
what?
it was
Was that Aztec
Mesoamerican.
or...
It's the same thing. It says so. Basically, some cultures occasionally seem to combine the sport with ritual religious human sacrifice.
Right. I
Which is
know.
cool.
I know that the I think it was the Aztecs. They
Yeah,
would
the
rig the
Aztecs.
game. They would, whenever they had prisoners, they would have a ball game because it would mean like some fight was going on, and it would be make a representation of a war they just had.
Wow.
And this representation was actually rigged, right? So they would make the actual prisoners play the game, but on a rigged game. And then they would lose the ball game, and they would say like, oh, since you lost the ball game, right, because you also lost the war, now you have to go up
Yep.
to the pyramid and get your heart.
Yeah, right here
your
it says for the reconsecration of the Great Pyramid of Tenochtitlan.
Tenochtitlan.
Yes,
Tenochtitlan.
there you
There
go.
you go.
1487, the Aztecs reported that they killed about 80,400 prisoners over the course of 4 days. That's insane.
Jeez Louise.
That
like-
and the heads would go onto God, I forget the name of it, but it's a now what name. The heads would go onto onto this monument with spears on a horizontal basis, and the heads are just lined up. The name of it it's the
Oh yeah, headhunting is the practice of taking the head of a killed adversary for ceremony or magical purposes.
I'm really down for the magical purposes part, and we need to put them in the next...
We need more magical purposes. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, they put the heads of their prisoners on a tzopantli.
Oh wow.
It
also
so
says
you can look
that-
it up.
What's it called?
It's a TZOMPANTLI. Tzopantli.
Oh wow. A skull rack. Oh god, I've seen these in video games.
Yeah.
A wooden rack documented in several Mesoamerican civilizations which used to publicly display human skulls, typically those of war captives or sacrificial victims. That's crazy
that's the
that they
one.
did that.
That's the one. And these days you can actually see the made up ones, which are made of stone.
Yeah, here's a stone one right here.
Ooh, enhance.
Whoa, it's huge too. Look at how long that is.
Yeah, but that is in Chichen Itza, right? That one is Mayan, so that one's like 2,000 years old.
Oh,
Though
wow.
one of the Aztecs is a little bit up on that same one. I think it says at Tzopantli in the ruins of
Oh wait,
Mexico City.
Oh shit, like if you enhance that thing, you do see like the Dovahkiin and the Legend of the Dragon. It's all there. Howard, man.
what was? How did you spell it again?
Dovahkiin?
Tzopantli.
TZON.
TZOMPAN.
PANTI.
PAN. So TZOMPANTLI. There you go.
TLI. Okay,
Yeah.
let me just go images here. Wow. Oh, that's crazy. Look at this one in Mexico City.
Oh, and there's the actual one with the heads.
Louise.
Oh yeah. Wow. Imagine like living in a city where this is just a casual like fixture.
Yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, those are just these sacrificial skulls of our enemies. No mind those.
No,
Well, I mean,
but they
it's-
are underneath. They're underneath the buildings.
Yeah, like in like the tombs underneath these things.
No, mainly because the Spaniards they buried everything that was Aztec in Mexico City, and they built on top of that.
Oh, they were like, these are they're done now.
So whenever the current people try to build something in the center of the city. They start like trying to build the foundations of a building. They go like, oh, look at this, it's just a burial site of a shit ton of people.
Yeah, there's just a ton of dead people here.
Oh my god!
Go
you sure
figure.
Sound like you've been at the DMV.
Take a look at that. Yeah, yeah, they were up waiting for their license renewals.
They're dead anyway.
They were dead long ago. That's crazy. Wow. Well, I think that's a good place to conclude. You think?
All right.
For episode 1 here,
I think so. That was really good, guys.
we covered. We definitely went down some rabbit holes. That's for sure.
CIA, FBI, aliens.
Yeah, we covered CIA,
Eagles,
FBI,
Orbs, Krampus, Santa.
the first American supermodel.
Mhm.
We covered the first porno
Legally, yeah.
illegally. Any last comments from you guys? Anything you want to say to whoever the people are?
No, not much.
Not much.
I'll say,
Keep looking.
this is, yeah.
The truth is out there.
The truth is out there. We're gonna be doing this maybe once a week. I'll just do a casual thing like this, you know.
I think that's perfect.
Put
I
some
would like
interesting
to
stuff out there.
say, thank you guys for watching. You know, I'm glad I was able to take you down the spiral of hell with Dante and the gang. This is all it can be dreamed of.
Thank you for joining
My
us
time is
in the
right.
inner circle. We're definitely at the lowest layer of hell here. Look at my screen right now. I have some sort of ancient mechanism and a bunch of pictures of old stone skulls up.
You're going to be on an FBI watch list for this.
Oh,
Just that alone.
I was put on one of those lists long ago, I'm sure.
I bet.
Anyway, I'll play us a little outro song here, and then we can.
Perfect. Ring of Fire. Thank you.
I'll play us all out. That's nice, right?
That's good.
Thank you for joining us here for the show. I wish we could keep on going, but we have to go. Thank you, everyone, from the bottom of my heart. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've gotta go make more art. I don't know.
Perfect.
We went down the rabbit hole, guys.
All right. See you next time.
See you next time, everyone. Peace and love and mahalo.
Just kidding. Now I'm the final one here. Have a good one.
He gets the last.